Welcome, Tech3 Media friends. Oh boy, we are excited coming to you live from our friends at Rug Radio, brought to you by our friends at Rug Radio. Talking today about Other Side, Apes Come Home, Oni Force, got some mint details, as well as Crypto and Goons is doing some really interesting things. Little portal here having to do with creator support. And so we're going to go over that, as well as creator support that's coming to you here on X to combat what's going on at TikTok. Some really interesting stuff going on there. And so we'll talk about how they're trying to bring those tool sets here to creators here on X. But first, you guys all asked, you guys all wanted to have the old school correspondence. You wanted to have Gaston Degenerer back to be the correspondent here on the other side. And so we brought him back to talk about his Apes Come Home trip. So Gaston, can you hear us? I think there's oh, I forgot to turn on your audio, sorry.
Merci. They cut off the other side. They cut off my larynx. I don't know what they're saying, but yes, it makes me speak in this this 3D form. But they cut it out. I was unable to talk to anyone there. They made some people carry these cardboard signs, so it was more like apes come homeless.
Oh, I mean, it looked really fun, and I think that at least people could see you there.
Oh no! This is me here. They ripped out my skeleton and then they put it into the game, and they called us voyagers.
Oh, I hope that wasn't too painful. It's like, they must have. I guess that must have been isolating for you to be sort of like this in this form without that ability to communicate.
Oh no, they give us some jobs to do, with quite lots of responsibility.
Oh wow, like building stuff, or like maybe fighting some of the, I don't know what the hell those Mara fight.
Oh no, they gave us the job of social media influencer. They gave us a list of objectives to make the photos of.
Wow, that's kind of cool. Like kind of living the life of Thread Guy or Farouk or something, right?
I've never felt such a hole in my body and on my life, such darkness as trying to be this social media influencer.
Or maybe it was because they ripped out my skeleton. One of those things. I guess it could have been that, but I think there was a lot of real interesting ground that was covered clearly, and engagement. And the experience of it all. And it was, for me, when I was at the 10K TF Grailed Come Home event, I was struck by just how big that land was. And I was speaking to Nana on Other Side at FM. Check out Nana if you don't follow him. And, where they talk about Other Side nonstop. But he was telling me that the relative distance for just a 5-tier land is relative to about 2.4 kilometers. Did you get that sense of that scale?
Oh, oui. The 2.4 kilometers, that equals about 770 miles.
No, 2.4 kilometers. I don't think that equals that many miles.
Oh no! Here we do it as in foot. And so it becomes the foot size of the king, and the King Gaga, he has a very small feet.
Oh, I guess that does make much more sense. But keep us informed, Gaston, and thank you for giving us a small update on the Other Side trip, Apes Come Home. Oni Force has been releasing details of their mint, their ordinals mints. And so things are heating up, clearly. If you're following their socials, you should, just to kind of get a sense of what's going on. I think this is one of the best run campaigns I've seen in a while. Kudos to that team for pulling together not just... It feels kind of old school. It feels a little like, the olden days of when, people would work to get collabs to where, people would look to get on every space to talk about things and drum up not just like the hype, but the awareness of what exactly they're doing, whether that's moving into the ordinal space, the technological challenges, but also the story elements. And so you saw the interview here a couple weeks ago with Star Lordy, as he began a massive campaign of talking to every every gosh darn show imaginable, which is something that he promised to do. And part of what's so hard about this space is trying to push forward messaging and not getting lost in uh, an exceptional bull run that we're all experiencing now. And so they've put out the mint details to slowly roll out to a bit of a soft mint. So you have, if you are uh, part of that snapshot that they did on February 22nd, you're going to be able to have a time frame. And it's not a short one. It's not like 24 hours. Oh my gosh, I missed it. It seems pretty extensive. I think they're thinking about a worldwide community, which is really important because it's just like missing out on these opportunities. I tell you, every time I run into somebody and they see my sound, I ran into a couple people this past week, and it was disheartening. I was like, oh no, you missed it. You missed all this stuff. But I think that's just how tough it is in this space right now. And so being loud matters right now in this space, especially in a bull market. And so OmniForce is doing an exceptionally well job doing that. And so as those details come forward, they're also going to be offering, obviously, opportunities to get a allow list as that process goes. So stay close to that. Third up, actually, is the Cryptune Goons. I wanted to talk Goons because I sort of stepped away from Goons for a while. I've always been a big fan of Sean, the artist, and what they were doing, um, pushing into apparel. I think they're one of the best apparel brands in Web3. Have had some amazing collabs. Have been in mass market retail stores, but there was something about the centrality of it that sort of threw me off. But recently, I think they've started to sort of change tack a bit and open it up to artist and creator support. I've been seeing a lot of messaging regarding that, and certainly they've created forums around creator support. And they did a whole new collection release with this pass portal. And so you kind of see they changed the characters a bit to be a bit younger, and there's a touch of nostalgia. If you look into the hands of each of these characters, you get a sense of the aim for nostalgia here, like Thanos's glove, Lego bricks, sort of bringing back a childish version of this property. Now, sure, it's very simplistic at first blush, but it's doing a lot of really interesting things for IP because you having the commercial license for this have a whole new set in a sense to play with, and so you can utilize your character in this new form. And it kind of goes back to part of the theory of we talked about on the show of why Yuga picked up Moonbirds. Well, there was a cuteness factor that was missing, certainly from apes and punks, a bit sort of specific in its look, and it just didn't quite have that Pungy Penguins factor, did it? And I think that was something that was part of the acquisition and the rationale for the acquisition. There's a cuteness factor and a lot of built-in community stuff there. But here, this move I think makes a lot of sense because you're taking these characters and you're kind of giving them sort of a fun kid-like feel, and that really opens up a lot of opportunities for creators like ourselves who are here in this space. Welcome to the show. For the creators looking for the tools and the projects who are giving us the tools to create our own fiefdoms here in Web3. And so just really excited about what they've got going on here at Goons World. And so we also have, there's these tools that are coming out that have long been teased for video on X, and it's something that hey, I'm doing it now. It's not that new, Minty, but you're starting to see a lot of communication from X's main channel, as well as some of the devs have been leaking, probably quite purposefully, that there's going to be a video button, and I believe that some people have already gotten this video button that allows them to do video in spaces. It seems very limited from what I've heard from the reg team who has, I don't know why I wasn't, but hello. It's basically a very this format still. But I think in our experiments on this show, we've definitely opened up spaces concurrently. But you're just going to have this one video format for the moment, and I think that as we expand, as they expand, they'll start to learn how to do it, because ultimately video is super super expensive, and sort of the again, fans of this show understand the rationale for why video is at a premium, and why video is being manipulated along the lines of algorithm use to compensate for bad videos. Hello. Like mine might not perform as well as say Thread guys. And so that gives them choices to make within the quote unquote algorithm. And the algorithm is quite stingy when it comes to, hey, like, let's put, because basically, these videos have to be on every server, like across, to be able to be accessible around the world immediately. That is very expensive. Roughly, Amazon using paying itself its own services through AWS, charging itself through its own services, AWS, was roughly around $7 for about an hour or so of video every day, just to have like that server network existing for every single video. And so that's why this rollout for X has been very, very slow, very, very calculated. Like, oh gosh, how do we do this? And I think us as creators, we know the advantages. We need video. We need it now. We need to start learning these tools, because I don't want to say it, but spaces are becoming a little less and less popular. I think I still have fun in spaces, but I think that they are definitely losing some of their luster in a sense. It's almost like a feast or famine. It happens to these media economies, where suddenly you'll get big winners, and then there's everybody else. 10, 30 views. 30 people in the room. There's not much in between. There's either hundreds, 700, or there's 17. And so I think that because you have that elimination of the middle, you get a lot of people who just don't want to do it anymore. They get sort of burnt out by not being part of the success of that specific media platform. And so as that evolves, the algorithm has to start to make choices as to which to serve up. Was it that it thinks that you're going to like? And so in doing that, platforms like TikTok have really sorted out how to achieve this in novel ways that are very limited. So if you've ever gone to TikTok, go to TikTok now, because right now TikTok has been doing a live broadcast push for video that is changing the face of creation in general. And I think that it's turned to kind of a quasi QVC for Etsy in some regard, but there's sales there. There's sales there at scale. And as you grow your audience, that becomes quite potent, because the audiences there are like kind of they're looking for content, they're scrolling for content, whereas TikTok generally, basically how you start is you go if you're doing just a regular video, it'll sort of cap you at 400. It'll test market your abilities and your creation in stages. So you start out, you're gonna get like 400, and then it's gonna get capped, and then like you're like, where'd my views go? And that's it. But they, if you do another one, and then they're gonna like say, oh, it's doing well. Okay, we're gonna give you 800, and then so on and so forth. You get 1,200, and then 2,000. And so, by the way, follow me at MintyFresh5 on TikTok, and I can show you what I mean, because that's kind of the way that platform is delivering that ability for the algorithm to deliver to you without having all the videos present and ready at all times. To be able to scale back, because clearly you want, like if you're YouTube, you want Mr. Beast on every server ready to go at every second. because of the massive amounts of views that are going to happen. Whereas, hey, poor Minty might go back a couple squares in a sense and not be as populated. So that I'm not taking as much real estate on those servers because, man, servers. Greg Osuri over at Akash Network was calling it spice all week. He's just like, the spice must flow. GPUs, and I think it's to some degree CPUs, definitely GPUs right now with AI, are the new oil. They are, you need these processes in order for the rest of the layers to work. And so that's kind of how to view video as well as a creator. And so as you're examining, why aren't I getting, the engagement, all this sort of stuff, it's systemic. They need to control the ways in which, views are accounted for, because this is going to get more and more pricey for them. And they need things that stick. They need, you guys to like and subscribe. Thank you very much for doing that. But they need you to show that appreciation for the content creators that you like, so that they kind of start to understand, okay, great, this is what they're watching. And so that they can take those numbers, just purely numbers, to advertisers, to then, make their money. So off our backs. Because again, and also too, it's true that Twitter doesn't quite live up to Elon's ideal of citizen journalism, where this whole idea of first and loudest, nonstop throughout the world all day is here. This is where you find out sort of the breaking news. If I'm looking for, oh, hey, the market's pumping for Bitcoin, where do we go, right? It's just like, here, maybe Telegram, if you got one of those Alpha Cabal groups, let me in to that Alpha Cabal group. And if not, I'll just see you next week. I'm just going to be here chatting to you. Maybe I'll have a guest, maybe not. Maybe I'll have a correspondent in the metaverse who's really bitter MAYC or not. But either way, I'm going to be here, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.